Folks. Will Peterson of Modern Catholic Pilgrim, going to be back with you again as we look at our next installment here in discussing pilgrimage as we prepare for the 300 Pilgrimages for Mary project in the month of May. The Emmaus model is based on the story from the end of the Gospel of Luke. After Christ has been crucified and died and resurrected, you have two disciples who are leaving Jerusalem and they do not know that he has been resurrected. And they encounter Christ on the road and do not realize who he is. And they walk with him to Emmaus, which ultimately was about 7 miles from Jerusalem. And along the way, they talk and have a good experience with him. And they, at the end, and when they get to Emmaus, they invite him to share a meal with them. And it's in the breaking of the bread that they recognize the risen Christ. And he leaves their presence, and they say to themselves, were our hearts not burning within us when he spoke to us of Scripture on the road? And that burning desire leads them to run the 7 miles back to Jerusalem after already walking the 7 miles, probably in the heat of the day, back to Jerusalem to share the good news. So we take that Emmaus story as our model for pilgrimage. When you walk, you are walking with the risen Christ, even if you do not recognize it. He is present in what you're doing. I know most of our pilgrimages right now will be individual, but if you have a spouse with whom you can walk, or some family members with whom you've been sheltering and quarantining, then it's in your conversation. And we love that when we have our pilgrimages, when our pilgrims can talk about faith and scripture and just share stories on the road. And then you get to that specific site, that chosen site of your pilgrimage, and there you encounter the risen Christ, in this case, through his mother Mary. And that blessing is what sends us burning to run back to our everyday lives changed. And that's what we really hope will happen with each of our pilgrims in this month of May, that through Mary we encounter the risen Christ and recognize what we can do to change ourselves in our own everyday lives, that, in our trials that we're going through right now, to better ourselves, better our families, our friends, our work. But it's a wonderful model, the Emmaus model, and it's the dearest passage of the gospel to me. And so I'm really glad that it's one that fits so well into pilgrimage. So consider the fact that you're going to be walking with the risen Christ, encounter him through his mother when you come to your site of your pilgrimage, and then set the world on fire when you come back. Uh, Thank you very much again for taking part in this, and share with your friends. Let's just continue to drive this forward. God bless.